Well, hello there guys, it's me, Kid Bombing again. Welcome to back to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. I've been doing well. I really appreciate your support to my channel and keep my creativity growing. But, in personal reasons, it was quite complicated, sometimes a bit frustrated, but I do always do my best I can. So, I'll be doing another read it out for you guys for story time together. Some of you quite enjoyed my previous Disney read it out so far. Okay, first of all, I'll show a book I'll go to read to you. This is Disney Atlantis, The Lost Empire. It was published by Hachette and Disney's Wonder World of Reading. Some of you quite seen this movie in your childhood. It was based on a modern animated classic from 2002. So, before I do, I'm going to read this book to you from read by words and also shows those just magnificent illustrated pictures. Okay, you came to workplace, and shall we begin the story to you guys? Excellent. Milo Thatch was sure that Atlantis was the real. His grandfather, Theodorus, had spent his life looking for the lost city, and now Milo, an expert in languages and maps, was doing the same. Milo was giving a speech about Atlantis. He held up an ancient Viking shield that he had been studying. Gentlemen, the Shepherd's Journal, the key to find Atlantis, lays not in Ireland, but in Iceland, Milo announced. Just then, the telephone rang, interrupting Milo's practice session for his real speech to a museum board. The phone call was about a broken boiler in a museum. Milo was a museum handyman, so he went to fix it. When he got back to his room, there was a message waiting for him. The meeting time had been changed, and he missed it. How was he going to finance an exhibition to Atlantis now? Discouraged, Milo trudged home. At Milo's house, a mysterious young woman called Helga was waiting for him. Preston Whitmore was to meet you, she said. Milo remembered that Whitmore had been friends with his grandfather. He was also a millionaire, so Milo followed Helga to Whitmore's mansion. Here's a shepherd's journal, said the old man, who was in the middle of a yoga session. My team found it in Iceland. All we need now is an expert in gibberish. Do you want to join our expedition? Milo couldn't believe it. Whitmore had a whole crew ready to go. He even had his own enormous submarine. 2 days later, Commander Walk, the expedition leader, welcomed Milo on board. Milo waved goodbye to Whitmore and boarded the submarine, the journal in his hand. Once the sub had been launched, Milo showed the crew what he had learned from the journal. This is an illustration of Leviathan, the creature who guarded the entrance to Atlantis, he explained. His crew looked doubtful, but just then there was a crash. Something huge had hit the sub. It was another villain. Milo was amazed to discover that Leviathan wasn't a creature at all. It was a machine. As it advanced, waving its terrifying pincers, the crew scrambled to escape pods. Where to, Mr. Thatch? Asked Walk. Milo pointed to the crevice, and soon they disappeared inside the underwater volcano. The team emerged in a huge cave at the edge of Atlantis. They unloaded support vehicles and equipment, including a digger driven by Mole, the team geologist. They set off and drive for hours before setting up camp for a night. Everyone was tired except Milo, who took out the journal and began to study it. "Don't you ever shut that book?" asked Sweet the medical officer. "There's a part I can't make sense of," said Milo. "It's about a heart of Atlantis, which seems to be some kind of power source, but it just stops as if there is a page missing." In the middle of the night, Milo woke up and turned on his torch. He could see fireflies in the torch beam, but these were not ordinary fireflies. In a second, they had set the whole camp on fire. Milo raised the alarm, and the crew jumped into their vehicles to escape. Kaboom! A fuel truck exploded, making the vehicles tumble off the bridge and land in the soft ash and at the base of a sleeping volcano. What a disaster! Milo had been separated from the others and surrounded by the fall, which he had opened his eyes, and he saw a group of masked warriors surrounding him. A young woman knelt beside him, took the crystal from around her neck and laid it on his wound. Instantly, the wound healed before he could thank his rescuers. A loud rumbling noise made them run off. Suddenly, Mole and his digger appeared, followed by the other survivors in their truck. Mole aimed the digger at the cave wall and smashed through it. There on the other side was the lost city of Atlantis. At once, the masked warriors appeared and surrounded them. "Holy cats! Oh, who are these guys?" gasped Rourke. "They've got to be Atlanteans," smiled Milo. The woman who had healed Milo stepped forward. "My name is Princess Kidda. I'm a daughter of the King of Atlantis," she said in perfect English. "Come, my father is waiting for you." Milo, Helga, and Rourke and the others followed Kidda to the palace. There, Milo tried to translate what the king and his daughter were saying to each other. "You know the law. No outsiders may see the city and live," declared the king. "But father, these people could help us," pleaded Kidda. Eventually, the king agreed to let them stay for one night. "Your heart has softened, Kidda," he said. 1,000 years ago, you would have slain them on sight. 1,000 years ago, our streets were lit and our people did not have to search for food at the edge of a crumbling city," replied Kidda. "If the outsiders can help us unlock the ancient secrets, perhaps we could save our future." Kidda offered to show Milo around Atlantis. Milo was dazzled by what he saw. "We thought we might find some ruined buildings and some bits of pottery, but instead we found a living city," he exclaimed. "But our city is dying," said Kidda sadly, "and we can't put it right because we do not know how to read the writings of our ancestors." Kidda told Milo about the disaster. They had killed her mother and plunged the Atlanteans into ignorance. Then she took Milo to a sacred pool. Its walls were painted with scenes from the history of Atlantis. Milo saw the picture of a giant crystal, and suddenly he understood its importance. Milo swam to the surface. "The giant crystal is the heart of Atlantis," he cried. "I'll read about it in a journal." You or the lanterns are wearing a piece of a crystal. That's what keeps you alive. But where is it now? Asked Kiddo. But Kiddo wasn't the only one who wanted to know the answer to the question. When Milo and Kiddo got out of the pool, Rogue and the crew were waiting for them. Rogue pulled the missing journal page from his boot where the crew took Kiddo hostage. Translate this for us, you real fool, demanded Rogue. Milo felt sick. If Rogue found the crystal and took it, Atlantis would be finished. But the crew didn't care about Atlantis. All they cared about was getting rich to keep Kiddo safe. Milo translated a torn page, but it didn't make sense. The heart of Atlantis lay in the eyes of her kin. Milo read. Straight away, Rogue and his men burst into the king's chamber. Where's the crystal? They shouted, but the old king would not tell them, even when Rogue attacked and seriously wounded him. Then Rogue had an idea. He forced Milo and Helga and Kiddo to join him on the platform of rocks by the pool. The platform lowered, taking them into the underground chamber, and there was a crystal, huge and blue, floating in the air above the lake. Suddenly, a beam of light broke off from a crystal, surrounded Kiddo, and pulled her into a circle of stone statues. These are our ancestors, murmured Kiddo, as she allowed herself to be completely absorbed by the crystal. All we be well and don't be afraid. Kiddo and the crystal were now one. Immediately, Rogue got to work, and soon Kiddo was locked inside the transport pod and loaded into the truck. So that's that, huh? Shouted Milo. You are wiping out the whole civilization, but hey, you will be wedged. That's okay. When they heard this, some of the crew decided not to go along with Rogue and joined Milo. Fine. All the more for me, yelled Rogue. As Rogue, Helga and his remaining crew drove off, they blew the bridge behind them so couldn't be followed. Milo was cool to see the dying king, who handed Milo his crystal. With his last breath, he gasped, return the crystal, save the city, save Kiddo. I'll try, promised Milo. Milo remembered the strange stone fish had seen in the city. I think they were aircraft at ancient Atlantis, he explained to the king's men. We can make them fly with our crystals. Milo and the fleet of flying fish soon caught up with Rogue and Helga, who were escaping from the volcano's shaft in a hot air balloon. The fierce battle broke out. Milo distracted Rogue while the crew worked to free Kiddo's pod. During the battle, Rogue and Helga disappeared, but a hot air balloon caught fire, and the explosion made the volcano erupt. Lava flew towards the city as Milo opened Kiddo's pod. Kiddo floated out, and stones and rocks began to rise up all around her. The statues were awake. They created a dome of energy over the city, and when the wave of lava arrived, it rode harmlessly over the dome. Kiddo was restored to her former self. Atlantis is saved. We will honour your names forever. She told Milo's crewmates as they got ready to leave. As everyone posed for the last photo, the crew sadly said goodbye to Milo. Are you sure you want to stay? They asked him. Yes, I hear there is an opening down here for an expert who speaks gibberish, Milo laughed. As soon as they arrived home, the crew went to see Preston Whitmore. Let's go over again, he said to them. You don't find anything. They shook their heads. Nope, nothing at all. Just rocks and a little fish and sponges. What about Milo? Went down with a sob. They all agreed. Whitmore looked down at the letter for Milo and a piece of a lantern crystal. At least he's in a better place now, said the old man, with a twinkle in his eye. Whitmore was right. Milo was in a wonderful place beneath the ocean. Milo watched as a giant carving of Kidder's father rose to join the other kings of the past, who were protecting the ancient city. The quest to find Atlantis had taken all of Milo's strength and courage and brains. But as he held Princess Kidder's hands and gazed into her eyes, Milo knew that he had been worth every minute. The end. I hope you enjoyed the story of Disney's Atlantis, the Lost Empire. It's about the Milo Thatch. He discovered a lost city of Atlantis. It was hidden beneath the ocean. I think it's quite interesting. Which is what reminds me of an entire movie. I probably might remember I've seen it on the cinema back in 2002. So, okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this video when I read Disney's Atlantis, the Lost Empire. It seems quite a really interesting story to learn, to remember our Disney moments from the past. Behind a magical legacy of the animation studios has been changed since 1923. Okay guys, so I hope you see you soon, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.